Nice. There we go. Look at everybody.
Hey, everybody, happy Tuesday. I'll let people in, Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here. Happy Tuesday. Who's feeling good today?
Eileen. Oh my gosh, we haven't seen you for quite a while.
Hey,
Yeah. Nice.
Hey, Linda.
All right.
Happy
Well, I'm just
Tuesday,
gonna sit
everybody.
back.
Happy Tuesday.
Handling the behind the scenes things there, letting Linda in. Man, Cynthia. Hi, Linda. Look at this. Hey, hi, Sharon.
Sharon.
Happy Tuesday. We're glad you're here. We're glad happy Tuesday.
Nice.
Morning.
I just had a wonderful conversation yesterday with Chanel, and man, she's got some great stuff happening. So really excited for her.
Well, this is where all the great stuff is happening. We only attract people that great things are happening. And if they're not there, they're going to get there by just showing up, right?
That's it.
Gotta show up.
All right, Linda, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Well,
Awesome.
Debbie sounds like she's been hanging out with me. She's like, "How are you doing?"
Oh my gosh! And you know
got a
what?
little accent there, like you're in Philly.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that accent there.
There was. I love it. I'm
Oh
rubbing off
my
on
gosh.
How
Debbie.
you doing?
And Kenny
You
said the
done
same
it so
thing.
much. She's like, "How you doing?"
How you doing?
Kenny said the same thing because of our trip.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Hi, Princella. Good to see you too. Wow. Johnny's got his hand up. Hello. Johnny is a big shout out again to him because he's been working really hard, plus trying to do the videos for us. So it's so great that he does that. And so he's got himself. Hey, Princella.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome. Happy Tuesday.
Awesome.
Susan, you're bringing in the ladies today, man.
Yes. Nice.
Susan's here. Yay!
Awesome. Everybody.
Dennis, you are incognito. You have
Yes.
backlighting on you.
I'm in Kona, actually. Oh.
Well, okay, you're incognito in Kona.
There you go. All shaded.
There you are.
There you go.
The sun will come up soon.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah. Awesome. Look at everybody jumping in here. All right. So many great things happening in the industry right now. Of course, I got to do a big shout out about the Drone Safety Day coming up. I know a lot of people are starting to post some things about what's happening. Hey, Parker's got his partner with him today.
We all love our fur partners, don't we?
Yes.
Yes, mine may join us at some point.
Did anybody ever see that video of the dog singing about, how they enjoyed having you home? It's the cutest thing with COVID. They're like, I just think of how sad dogs are when we have to leave and go to work now. They're like, wait.
Oh yeah, they're not happy.
No, they're not. They're like, got so spoiled.
Yeah. Hey, there's
Welcome, welcome.
I just saw Susan. I just saw Francisca logging in.
Francesca, yeah.
Francesca. Okay, sorry about that. Nice. Glad she could make it. That's wonderful.
So, Debbie, I'm making an observation. You sound like me, and I look like you.
Hey, we have role reversals today.
We're like an old married couple.
Oh my gosh. And you aren't the first one to say that. So apparently I can pick up on an accent very quickly. Spent just a few
You've heard it a lot though. I say that to you all the time when we talk. So
oh, you just said talk.
Oh, I lost my Southern California accent, like totally, right?
Nice. Wow, look at everybody jumping in here.
Welcome. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Yes, and I think I have a sneaky idea why everybody's here, because everyone is so excited to build their brand, right? boost their
Absolutely.
business. And a lot of people have been asking about it. So we're super excited to have our spotlight speaker here today with us. And so with that, I am going to kind of get things rolling here. It is 5 minutes and Kim's going to run the behind the scenes to let people in as they come in. But Susan Caplan is our spotlight speaker today. We're super, super excited. She is the president of SC Associates, and she's a Women in Drones advisor board. She's on the board. She's an accomplished professional with extensive marketing, communications, and branding background, which is why we are so excited to have her here with us. Susan, I am going to make you spotlight, and we thank you for joining us on the Coffee Connection.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for coming today. And, you know, especially Desi and Kim and Sharon for inviting me. I appreciate it. There's some people online that have worked with me a lot over the past couple years, and some people are new. So I'm really excited that you're all here with us today. I am going to probably talk kind of fast because I don't have much time to cover a lot of territory with you. But right now, what I wanted to start out with, and this just sort of, I just read an article and I needed to share it with all of you because it seemed perfect to align with what we're talking about. I read an article from Brookings Institute. They're a think tank out of Washington, D.C. They were talking about COVID and what it's done to the market. We know that it's done a lot to the economic market, but the disruptions to daycare and schools and after school programs not only have been hard on families, but it's been particularly hard on women. And forgive me for the men that are on. I know it's been hard on you too, but it's really taken its toll on women. So 1 out of 4 women, and I want to get these numbers right, who become unemployed during this pandemic reported the job loss due to the lack of childcare. And you know, not all of us have children and not all of us are in this position, but it is twice the rate of men that have lost their job. So this is just one of these things that I'm saying to you, you cannot for 1 minute take your eye off your personal and professional brand. There's just too much going on. Now, I have been speaking for a long time, 20 years now, and every time I speak, I say the same thing to the audience. Don't, oh, Sam Scully just enjoyed it. Hey, Sam. You know, don't let someone else determine your future. And that means that whether you're in a job and you're not sure whether you're in the right job, don't let your boss decide once a year at your review whether you're good or not. If you have your own business, don't decide when things get really tough, oh, maybe I'm not hitting my right target audience. This has to be an ongoing thread woven throughout your entire career. And if you do it right and you network right, and boy, look at all the great networking here today, you will never have to look for work. You will never have to look for income. It will come to you. So I just sort of, this just sort of hit me, and I just felt like it was really important that we just address this. So I'm going to bring up the, okay. Is it working?
Yes. Woo-hoo. Got it.
Never know with me. So I just wanted to get started real quick. Like I said, I'm going to talk rather quickly, and I'm really going to push for you to work on your professional brand. So let's take a look at this first slide. So I want you to take a look at professional branding through a new set of lenses, and just kind of look at yourself, at how others see you and how you're presenting yourself. And I'm not sure where all of you are at this point. Some of you are running full-time businesses. Some of you are working on your drone business on the side. It's a side gig. Some of you are working full-time and want to move up in your job. But the greatest gift you can give yourself is to understand your brand, how people around you view yourself. And it is how you're identified. Your brand is your DNA. And that's your trademark in the business world. And you know how this works. We all talk to each other and we say, oh, do you know so-and-so? Yeah, what do they like? And whatever image I have in my head is how I'm going to talk about you. So it's important that you're on the top of your game all the time. It's really the impression that's made, and it's really something you need to control at all times. So where do you start? I want you to think about what's your wow. Okay. What's the thing that helps you stand out? What's your superpower? So whether you're growing your business now, it's sort of the line, what's your, what makes you stand out from your competition? And you all have something. Some of it, and I don't think this can't be overrated, is charisma. I think it's important that you learn how to present yourself with energy and strength. It all comes down to this and how you tell your story. So professional branding is really about telling your story verbally and non-verbally. Now, I will give you a little hint of something that's helped people along the way. Sometimes we get involved with groups or people, or we go to networking events over and over, and we sort of let our hair down, and we sort of get comfortable with everybody, and we talk and we chat about family and this and that. But every time you attend one of these events, you need to center yourself and say, this is my professional self. Even though we're all become friends over the years, this is my professional self, and this is how I want to be seen and how I want people to view me. Now, I will tell you really quickly how I developed my brand, and it's an ever evolving brand, trust me. But when I first started my business back in 2000, I had to go out, and here I was pitching to all these big companies, big corporations, to do help with marketing and communications. And I thought, how am I going to tell my story, and how am I going to stand out? And I would go to networking events, and there would be hundreds of people that did exactly what I do. And I thought, how am I going to stand out? So I had to make a business card, of course. And back then, most business cards were just plain white paper with black ink. That's how it was. And I liked the color purple. So I decided to make the back of my card purple. And I put in the middle of the back purple my website, but on the front was just plain black and white. And I would walk up to people and hand them my card and introduce myself, and people would turn it over and they were saying, oh, cool purple, or I like your card. And I thought, oh, either they're like secretly making fun of me, or they really do like my card, but at least it stood out. And then the next day when I would reach out to people, and back in 2000, we didn't have email back and forth, I would call them on the phone and I would say, this is Susan Caplan. I met you last night. And immediately people were saying, oh, you're the purple lady. And I thought, yes, I can be the purple lady. Now I know that of all the other people in that room that were doing exactly the same work I was doing, I stood out from the competition. So I started to use that as to help me with my tagline, to help people stand out from the competition. When I wrote my first book, the book cover is purple. And there's a whole chapter on there, Becoming Purple. And people send me emails sometimes, in the subject it says, I'm purple too. And I love that it's caught on, but it's most important is that it stands for how to stand out. What's your wow? What's your superpower? So, but that's the first thing you really, really want to kind of start to think about. The next part, and I'll say we're going to do 3 steps here. First, step 1, put together your professional brand checklist, right? So determine your brand, decide what you want. And here's a little trick. When you walk up to someone and introduce yourself, or when you sit in these events, what are the 3 things you want people to say about you and or your business when they walk away? And then think about what are the 3 things they're actually saying about you, and do they align? And so when I go to a networking event, I literally, before I leave, I literally sit down and think, what are the 3 things I want people to say about me when they meet me today? And then I put together my pitch based on that. So it's sort of, if you don't tell people what to say, they'll make something up. And an example was when I first started my business again, I was in marketing communications, really more communications, but for marketing. When I would tell people that, all of a sudden I heard people saying, oh, she works in social media. But the truth was I really wasn't in social media, but they didn't understand. So you have to be very clear. So determine your brand. The second is learn to tell your story in a verbal and nonverbal way. And here are some examples. Your pitch. Again, decide the 3 things you want people to say about you. Verbally, your voice. How does your voice sound on your message? When people call your phone and they get your voice message, how does your voice sound? I challenge you to record your voice and listen back. Here's another tip. Stand up when you record your voice. It makes your lungs open up and it makes it sound more dominant. So you might want to try that, and it gives it more energy. Written communication. Does your email signature really tell your story? Okay. Desi has a great email signature. And so, take a look at hers as an example. It really tells who she is. Your LinkedIn summary. Does that tell the story? And does it align with your website? Or does it align with your resume if that's where you're going right now? And does it tell people that you're virtual ready, meaning that you can sit down and talk to them via a Zoom call as well as in person? Be very specific. Your resume and bio, do they really tell people that you're a true contender for the job you're going after? Have you really thought through it, or is it a cut and paste and you send it out to 1,000 people if you're looking for a job? It makes a difference. Visually, your posture when you're sitting in meetings, in person or on these Zoom calls. Are you sitting up straight? Are you looking into the camera and not at the screen? And that's a tricky one because I keep wanting to look at the screen, and I know it's hard, but you have to practice that. And how do you look? Is there a consistency to the colors around your brand, to the way that you have your font you're using, all these things? The third one is boost your energy. There's a professor at Harvard, Amy Cuddy, who has done all this research on nonverbal communication and what your body language tells people. And energy is the one thing that's really hard, especially if you're talking to someone for a long time. And she did this study. There you go. Thanks, Kim. And it's sort of like that. She did a study and found out that if before you go to give a presentation or you're about to talk to someone that's in a serious meeting, if you go to the bathroom, stand in front of the mirror and do the power pose, put your hands on your hips or put your hands up above, and you look in the mirror and you do that power pose, it does something to you physiologically that helps boost your energy and your strength. So you might want to think about doing that. I wouldn't do it in public. People might think you're weird. So the next part is we'll look at step 2. Am I okay on time, Desi?
Yes, you're doing great.
Good.
A lot of great information too.
So great. So step 2 is to advance your professional footprint, right? You want to become an industry expert. You want to use today's language, become an influencer. Go out there and be the true expert in the drone industry or whatever industry you're focusing on at this time. How can you do it? Write a blog, write articles, contribute to other people's articles, be the voice, the third-party endorser for companies and their products. Speak at drone events. There's so many events. There's Interdrone, UAS Summit. There's all kinds of events that you can speak at these days. And then there's companies that have their own events. Talk to Boeing and see if there's a way you can partner with them. Host your own event or even speak at the local library to get practice. And just make sure you keep speaking, because the more you speak to an audience, the better you'll get at telling your story. So it's important that you do these things and display photos. This is the other thing. You go to networking events, you're shaking hands with people, start taking a photo of you with other people and post it on LinkedIn saying, oh, I was just at Interdrone with these individuals. Because when people Google your name, you want those things to bubble up to the top so they know you're serious. You want them to see you really active in the business community and not someone that just posts other individuals' posts. So make sure you do that. And then I have here collaborate. And this one, boy, I think it's a missed opportunity. It really does take a village to make it work in business. And thank you, Hillary Clinton, for coming up with that phrase, but it does. You are sitting here, we are sitting in a room here. I don't know how many people are here today, 20, 25, 30. You're all brilliant. I can't believe how accomplished so many of you are. Team up, say, hey, let's both of us go out there and speak. Let's both of us put together a blog and talk about the drone industry or talk about other industries. Use this opportunity and ask for referrals from each other. Look, this is my area of expertise. This is my special wow. What's yours? And maybe I can connect you with some people. That's another great way. And always bring your professional A game, right? Always look your best, come across like you're the confident person that people are coming to see. This next one is metrics, which most of us hate, at least I do, but it's so critical. So if I work with a lot of CEOs in writing speeches or messaging or talking about how they present themselves. And I've had so many tell me that every year they take one day to decide how they want the next year to be for their professional brand. It is amazing to me. One man said he goes to the same place in Florida every year. He sits under the same tree. And for one full day, he sits down and decides, how are people perceiving me? Which marketing efforts are working? If I'm speaking, which ones got me the most response from people? How much money did I make on my product that year? All these questions are things that if you don't take time for yourself, you'll just keep running and running and running and reacting instead of being proactive on how you're running your business. Because you want to be the one that people remember, and you don't want to let someone else determine your future. So those are the three things I can squeeze into here. I'm about to wrap up because I want to make sure I answer all questions today. I did want to offer this for new members, and I know there are a lot of you online now that have already taken advantage of this and we've been working together. I will offer this, a brand image session for $35 for 30 minutes. If you are interested, please feel free to email me, and it's susan@susancaplan.com. And here you go. So you can reach out to me and say, hey, I want to take advantage of that 30 minutes for $35. I will send you the link to sign up for it, and we can put something on the books. Maybe from there, you'll decide you want to talk further, or that we'll get enough done in the 30 minutes, but it's an offer I'm making to you today. So with that, I will get out of the slide mode, and we can talk and people can ask questions.
Thank you. Amazing deal.
I second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth that.
Yes.
Good.
That was awesome.
Yes. And can you put your information into the chat? Because I know people are going to want to take advantage of that.
See?
That's amazing.
This is where I have to figure this one. I can do this.
And I was going to.
I can't find where to put it. I'm sorry. I can
So,
do this.
The one that I have would be Susan at the SC Associates. But that
Okay,
isn't the one that you had.
I have it. Here we go. It's the same. It's the same. It all goes to the same, but I'm putting it in the chat now.
Okay.
I just made it.
Great information. What a fantastic deal. Oh,
there you
God.
go.
Thank you so much for offering that. That's amazing. And I know you have some success stories that have joined us here today. So we'll circle to those. And so I saw a few people kind of circling back to the beginning of it. I saw a few people that had mentioned the color. And of course I said, oh, what's my color, right? But I know Sam said purple was hers.
I see Linda's holding up hers. There you go.
Yeah.
Sam also, I know Sam Scully has purple, right, Sam?
Yes.
Color. in the Bible, that's the royal color, the royal robe. So you go, girls.
Yes, I love
That's
it.
what Esther wore, Queen Esther. We got a bunch.
Awesome.
So any questions or anybody want to pose?
I have one, Susan.
Yes, Kim, go ahead.
So, so the past couple of years, I mean, that's a real big measuring stick for everybody, reevaluating things, now we're, up against inflation. So, I mean, I've definitely seen a change in my business. So how important is social media versus like email? What are some changes you've seen in the market going into, say, 2022, once we've all been out of lockdown and quarantine with COVID?
Well, that's a good question. Thanks, Chanel. You love purple too. So, look, I would like to say to you, this is what's happened, and so this is how we can fix it. But the truth is this, there's always going to be a COVID. It won't be called COVID, but there will always be something that happens that will shake our world. That is life. And since 2000, when I started my business, I've had to reinvent things about 4 times. There was 9/11, there was the 2008 stock crash. I could go on, and now it was COVID. And what I've learned throughout this entire time is to always learn to pivot and always have a plan B. So the one thing I'm stressing on everybody is have a separate side business, have another business online. Don't ever put all your eggs in one basket if you're working for a company. I am an advisor at Northwestern University right now. I bet 60% of my students all already have side businesses online. It's so easy to do. Now it takes some work, right? So if you have a full-time job, it's not easy, but put an hour aside every Saturday morning and just put it into that. So the next time we have the next COVID, you're prepared. 95% of people had to work from home because of COVID. We weren't prepared for that. And now the residual of that is companies don't know what to do. Like some companies are letting people go. And I've had this conversation recently with some of you, and they're letting people go, and then they're going to go back and rehire them. And everybody's scrambling, but you won't feel that pressure if you take control of where you're heading. Now, can someone pull the rug out from under you? Absolutely. But if you at least have something else you are working on and moving toward, so you can fill in this gap when things settle up, you will feel more in control of your future. And again, don't let someone else determine that future. You determine that future. And so again, I'm sorry, Kim, I can't give you the direct answer to that.
No, that was great. That was great. It's just a great reminder, literally that, nothing stays the same.
Nope.
We can all say that nothing stays the same, and we can get, when we're hot, and when we're not, and we can get in those hot sections of our careers, seasons in our life, in our relationships, and then we're not, and so, pivoting and learning, like you said. And one thing that I've seen in the marketplace, just recently, especially this year, is that just really people want to get out and network. They want to get out to events. They want to meet people hands-on because they miss them, right? So that's where like Coffee Connections was something that Desi and I, thought of, that, when this is all said and done, beginning with the end in mind, that, now when we go together to networking events, we already have tribes there, which has been really great. We pivoted in that way. So it's totally, there's going to be changes, and there's always going to be a need for us to connect with other people, whether it's online or offline. So yeah, that was great.
Right. There's an individual online right now. I won't make her say anything, but we've been working together, and she's a visionary. She has looked forward into things that are going on in the drone industry and in the engineering industry, and her company wasn't ready to keep up with her. So she's actually taken that to the next level and didn't let other people say, no, that's not necessary, that's not important. But she put her foot forward and started expanding and now has this great opportunity sitting in front of her. So don't let other people push you down. Just because companies aren't ready maybe to buy your product, or managers aren't ready to see what you see, then start it somewhere else. Don't feel like you have to sit back, because only you can control what's going to happen, to your bank account. Nobody else is going to do that. Any other questions?
So what advice do you have? Oh, Sam has her hand up. Hang on, Sam. I caught that too late. I'll circle back to you, okay? What advice do you have for someone that doesn't quite know who they are, where they're really wanting to go, and maybe how they perceive themselves?
Yeah, daily, I don't know how to perceive myself. So, you know what? That's where, you talk to people that can listen and help you see maybe what you don't see, right? Pull the best out of you. Let you see that what you're doing, sometimes it's so funny because I work with so many individuals, helping them, that sometimes I talk to them and they go, oh, I know I'm not good at this, but and I know my boss says this, and I know the company thinks that I'm not ready for this. And it's like they've almost accepted this idea of looking at all their negatives. Like they're okay with it. And it makes me nuts, because each one of us is unique. Each one of us has something to offer, but sometimes we just get pounded down or lose that ambition or that energy. And all I'm saying is, surround yourself with people that can help build you up again and help you see things. Find somebody that you really do trust and say, how am I being perceived? Or do you see me as this expert? And if they say no, it might sting a little, but then look at the things you're doing. Does your LinkedIn profile really tell the right story? Does your resume really tell the right story? Do you, when you go out and meet people, tell the right story? I used to do a whole session with, sometimes network, at events, they would hire me just to how to shake someone's hand and look them in the eye and tell your story. And you'd be surprised how many people don't know how to shake someone's hand properly.
Absolutely.
Now, for the last year, I haven't had to deal with that because it's all been online. But now we're getting back into it. And that's the nonverbal communication I talked about before. That's as important as anything. That's the first contact you have as a professional with someone. Your business card, your handshake. Are you looking them in the eye, or are you looking around at everything else at a networking event? Or when you're meeting with a potential client, are you listening more than talking? Are you trying to hear what their pain is and their things you can help them with? So there's, it's personal. It becomes very personal. Sometimes it shines a light on things we don't love about ourselves, but that's why we're human. We just keep moving forward, right?
Love it.
Anybody else have a question?
Sam has her hand up.
Sam.
Thank you for joining us here, Sam.
Good morning, everyone. So I just wanted to add to what Susan said earlier. I engaged Susan to help me during the COVID time. I think it was last year. We started last January. Mm-hmm. And what Susan did for me is, like she said, made me take a look at my branding, how I was presenting myself. And then lastly, she helped me put together a plan. Let's say I am going to do the social media. How often am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? And why am I doing it? Do I need to do TikTok? Probably so, because my dog got an account. But the main ones I do are like IG, Instagram, of course, LinkedIn. Some of them I can't remember at this point, but her to help me laying out that plan gave me a focus on what I was doing it and why I was doing it. And of course, we still communicate because I'm still, researching the drone industry for my staffing company to find out, like she said, how am I significant and how am I different from the other staffing companies? And I'll end like that. Thank you, Susan.
No, thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was really unbelievable as we started to create the plan. It just kept, you work together and you brainstorm. And of course, those that have worked with me know, and I'm like, and then we could do this, and then we could do this, and you can't do it all. So we try to narrow it down, right? And pick 3 things that we're going to just conquer. And, and Sam's introduced me to some social media sites I wasn't even aware of. But, so this is great. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Awesome. There's so much to it, to building your brand. And then you touched briefly on the metrics of it. And so sometimes I know you can get fixated on it, but you need to definitely keep in touch with it so you know, okay, what's really gaining traction and what's not. So do you have any advice as far as like ways to do that? Plus, it's also overwhelming looking at all the different facets of social media. Like Sam just said, there's so many different ones.
There are so many different ones, and you cannot do them all, right? Some are going to be better for your audience than others. Pick one, start baby steps. Join my world, take baby steps with the technology. Don't really, I know that, Facebook will inundate you with, here's your metrics and measure how many people did this and that. And the same with LinkedIn. They're making money off you doing all that stuff. So I'm not saying it's not right, but just decide how much time you need to put in there, and then decide if there's value in making changes accordingly. Even LinkedIn, I see people all the time thinking, oh, well, LinkedIn is great at sending you things to say, oh, why aren't you sharing more of this, or tap into this person? And then, LinkedIn is brilliant. I have a love-hate with LinkedIn because they're a company, they're making money. Do you know how much money they make every time someone posts a job on LinkedIn? I was just working with an engineering company. They put out 8,000. That's the minimum amount you can put out to post a job on LinkedIn for a company right now. The minimum amount. And then when you get that, they'll let you say, oh, I'm looking for someone in engineering or in this or in that. And you put in the keywords, and they'll pull up all the profiles that have those keywords and hand them over to the company. And then they'll start reaching out to people. As individuals, we don't need that sophisticated reach, and we don't need to spend the $8,000. But every time they can go and say, oh, look, you got 8,000 hits. Well, they were driving people to that. They're making money off of that. So you have to say, how much time do I really want to put into this piece of social media? Yes, if you're going to measure the number of hits or likes or whatever it is you're getting, and you can then convert that into how much money did I make, right? Or how much of my product did I sell? You have to always remember this. I remember many years ago when I first started my business, I was speaking in front of an audience, and I came back and I remember talking to my father and said, hey, guess what? I had 5 people write me and say they really enjoyed my speech. And I remember my dad said, and how much money did you make after those emails? And I said, talk about raining on my parade. Like, I was feeling so good. But you know what? He was right. It did feel good, and you have to own it and feel good about it. But then you got to come back to reality. You need to run a business. And it's the business either of your life and getting a job, or the business of running your own business.
Awesome. So we've had a couple comments, and it looks like
Oh.
from people that have been very, very happy with working with you.
Thank
And
you.
so I just want to see if anybody wanted to actually.
Thanks, Eileen.
Yeah, and kind of share the experience and the knowledge gained, and I know just working with Susan has been wonderful. So if anybody wanted to maybe open up, Elaine, and share.
Yeah, I'll also speak and just say I had a really great experience. Thank you for everything you did for me, Susan. It was about about a year ago.
Yeah.
I was actually purchasing another company in St. Louis, and she helped me do press releases, and this was after she helped me do the branding. So she has a wide variety of services too, and she's very easy to talk to, and she got me to look at things a little bit differently. Because we all get stuck in our day-to-day of what we do, and we don't always, have somebody from the outside look. So it's very, very helpful. So it was great. And I really appreciate everything you guys did. So thank you. I would recommend Susan.
Eileen, tell everybody about your company. I mean, this is amazing how you took this business that you started, and now you're branching out across the country.
Yeah, some of it's, I don't want to say luck, but we're always out there looking to see, how to expand and grow our business. We're a construction company at our core, but we use drones and we have a drone division. So we expanded into doing some LiDAR now. So that's been really good. And it just ties in with construction, LiDAR and 3D modeling and digital twins. They're the big buzzwords now, especially in like the drone industry. We do more terrestrial LiDAR right now, but because people are still like, oh, aerial LiDAR. And so, but it's interesting, but it's growing, and that's the direction it's going. And that's really, honestly, anybody who's looking to get into anything, that's where the money can be made if you can make the investment. It isn't cheap though. I'll say that. It was a very, very big investment, the terrestrial and the aerial LiDAR.
Yeah,
And
just get
you're
them
branched
all
out now into St. Louis area?
Yep. Yeah. So we're in there, and then a little bit in Illinois, Southern Illinois now. And that we've gotten some big contracts or some really big companies down there that we're working with. So it's been good. It's a lot, but it's been good. So yeah, I'm just in the weeds every day. So Susan, with the brand plan too that she can do for you, that's why I would recommend anybody who's interested speaking with her, because like someone else had mentioned it, she lays it out and it's very clear and directive, and it's not like you're not like getting some 100-page report and you're like, where do I even start? Like it's actionable. I'll put it to you that way. What she gives you is actionable.
Thank you.
Yeah, keywords, actionable. Yes, I agree. Yes. Francisco, do you want to open the mic? You made some really great comments. I don't want to put you on the spot, but we would love to hear from you if you have some comments to make. We'll give her a second.
Francesca? No, she might be on a call.
Possibly. No, sorry, can't speak right now. Okay, got it. Awesome.
That's fair.
Awesome.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I've seen a lot of really good comments, very
Oh, good.
positive information being shared. We love it. So kind of diving a little bit into the side of, you had mentioned on LinkedIn, putting your resume, your bio. Do you have any tips for what makes a good presentation as far as on LinkedIn and the professionalism?
First of all, do not ever, ever, ever put your resume on LinkedIn.
Okay, there we go.
There is a hierarchy to this whole marketing world when you're putting yourself out there. LinkedIn is a teaser. It gives people an overview. You do not have to copy and paste from your resume. You do not have to give every single detail. You want people to look at your LinkedIn profile, and then you want them to say, hey, can we set up a conversation? Or can I have a job? I want to talk with you about a potential job or a product that you're selling. So it's really a marketing tool. You do not have to like share every single detail about your life, because then they have no reason to reach out to you. And remember what I said, if you don't tell people what to say, they'll make it up. They may interpret things differently than you want them to. So make your story, short, to the point. And, and then for all the jobs you had, you don't need to put 6, 7 paragraphs for each one, just the bullets, right? The key bullets, so that people say, this person has the skill set I need. This person has the experience. That's what you want to do. Have your picture represent the professional you, right? I've had some, of course, students that are still in school or whatever, and they'll put up pictures of them drinking or whatever. And I have to stop and say, time out. This is not Facebook. This is for, LinkedIn. And so you really want to present yourself in that professional mode.
I really like, Susan, that you brought that up, because, they used to call it verbal vomit, like just to really TMI, right? So don't be afraid, to ask questions. It'll help you with your confidence. People that are not confident tend to be a little too talky because they're not confident. So be willing, like you're saying, Susan, to ask questions and then let them come back and then guide that conversation as well, instead of just, tell them this is who I am. It's kind of like, my girlfriend does the dating apps and stuff like that. It's just a lot of information, but you don't really know people. And I get emails, you guys do too. I get, LinkedIn messages. hi, Kim, and then blah, 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 blah. This is what my company does, and we would love to work with you. Not, hey, how are you? Can we schedule a call? Like, I'm not gonna, I just don't even like that. It'll be like a 2-paragraph, tell me what they are. So that's a great point that you bring up, because that to me is a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is this, those people are following, there's some tutorials on LinkedIn that tell you to do that. It's like, it's a numbers game, it's a sales game. And I guarantee you that if they send out 100 or 1,000 of those, 1% return on investment on any marketing, distribution would be enough for them to make enough money, right? So I can't down them for doing it. It doesn't mean you have to react to each one, but also be very careful when people reach out, because there are a lot of scam artists out there, especially now. And I've had people that have, given information about their business or their account. Oh, sure, we want to buy your services. And then they transfer money, and it's not good. You just have to be very diligent and not, be careful is what I'm telling you. It's just a really tough world out there right now.
Yeah, and educating your client, you bring up a really great point. I mean, we're all in some aspect, we are, in the UAS industry. And it really is, I just was at an event in Virginia, Leesburg, that was all government officials. And they're all like, we have to collaborate. It's all about education. So I just want to remind you guys, just like what Susan said, you want to educate people about what you do and how you can assist them, because people don't buy you, they buy the value that you bring to them.
Well, and they need to trust you. And I think collaboration is just so underrated right now. And I think that, like, look, my whole career, I've always reached out to people that do exactly what I do, because we have to help each other. And there have been days, when I had my appendix out, I couldn't be at meetings, and then I could reach out to people that did what I did, and I knew I could trust them to represent me. And so you need to lean on each other, and you need to help each other, and this group in particular, the women in this group that I've met are just so extraordinary. And I have to say, Sharon, you have been just this person in my life. From day one, we've known each other for many years. And Sharon is that woman who helps other women, who helps other people in business in general. She's always there. And those of you that have worked with her know that. So kudos to you.
We love Sharon. We love Sharon.
But she's going to kill me. But I just, and I'm not just saying it. I think that the fact that I even could zero in on somebody in this day and age, because it's so extraordinary, right? We don't meet people all the time that are willing to lend a hand or help each other. And so that's why I just keep pulling at each other, keep helping each other through everything.
Great advice. Great advice. So circling back to the vomit. So I see quite often that people will build up their brand, their reputation, and they're on social media, and then they just seem like they segue away. Do you recommend that they just, when they're building their brand, they just keep that one type of product out there? Or do you think they're doing that to maybe try to keep the doors open, so they're not putting all their eggs in one basket?
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm just not really quite sure. What's the main question?
Do you, and Linda, I see your hand up too. Do you see, or do you even recommend that people, in an attempt to expand out, start to put out different social media type information?
Yeah, so when you're putting together your marketing strategy, you may want to start with who your target audiences are. And I know for me, I have different audiences. I work for corporations, but I also work for individuals. So the places I'm going to go to reach those two different audiences are going to be different. And the words that I use are going to be different. And it has to be the same way for you. And it is not one size fits all. So I know what you're saying, in that sometimes you do see people, they just throw everything out there and hope something sticks. And you know what? It's unfortunate, because that tells me maybe they don't know what their superpower is. They don't know what their wow is. They're just hoping somebody latches onto something. And that never works, because over time it becomes diluted, it becomes anemic, their message. So you need to really target specific areas. Look, if you want to pick like 2 social media sites, or maybe it's not even a social media site, maybe it works better if you put out a newsletter coming from you and you have different content for each audience you're going after. And better than that, do both, right? Pick one site and do a newsletter. So it's layering. And I when I'm teaching, I do this thing, and I'm not going to make you all go through this, but I tell people, take a pencil and make a dot on the piece of paper in front of you. And I don't know if anybody has pencils anymore or just computers, but if you take a pencil and make a dot on the paper in front of you, now I want you to take that same pencil and make a dot over that dot. Now I want you to take the same thing and do the exact same thing on the same dot. And if you take your finger and rub it over the paper that you just did that on, you will see an impression has been made. And that is the same thing with messaging. The more you hit that same audience with the same messaging, the more of an impression you will make, and they will start to remember who you are. And so that's how you have to sort of think through these with targeting your key audiences.
Awesome. Awesome. Linda, you had your hand up, and Sam, I don't know if you have another question or if your hand is just still up. Linda, go ahead.
Thank you. Appreciate this amazing presentation. And I think I mentioned in the chat, it's kind of like drinking water from a fire hose. But so I want to circle back to one of the things that you said in your presentation about what are the 3 things I want people to be saying of me, and what are the 3 things that people are saying about me? How do I dive into that a little bit better? I want to find, I know how to tell them what I want them to think about me. That's fine. But how do I go about asking them or finding out what the market really thinks of me?
Yeah, that's, it's hard. And so I mean, you could start at a baseline and just pick, if you have 3 women in business, and I say that specifically because you can ask your mother or your sister, and their perception of you will cloud how they see you professionally. They don't mean to do that, but that happens. But 3, I say women because we're a women's group, but ask 3 men, 3 people in business, and say, what are the 3 words you think of me when I come to you, in a business level? And people that you trust, though. And then, but before you do that, write down on a piece of paper, what are the 3 words you want them to be saying about you? Okay. And see if the words they tell you even align with that. Now, I get sometimes when I'll say this to people, what are the 3 words you want people to say about you? And they'll say, oh, trustworthy and reliable. And, those aren't tangible things that, I mean, they're qualities that are extraordinary. But if you're saying to me, and I don't know what you're selling or doing, but let's say you're selling drones and you want to be the drone expert in the industry, and maybe it's I'll use 3D or whatever the Eileen just gave me those words. Sorry, I'm probably botching this, but whatever area you've decided you're going to be that expert, and you've been putting out information into the world on this. If they didn't say right away, you're the 3D expert in drones, or you're this thing in drones, then being reliable and responsible won't matter, right? Because you want them to buy your drone or buy your services. And so you have to really think through that in a business scenario, what you want people to say about you or your product. Now, if I have 2 seconds, I'm going to give this quick story. Some of you may have already heard me tell us, I don't know. But, and to give you an example, how to get your story out there. And I'm taking this down to a college level, so I apologize, but I had a student, they were all going to the career fair. And I was teaching at the engineering school at Northwestern. And I said, what are you going to say to the career people when you get there? What are you going to do to stand out? Because there's going to be hundreds of students there that are from Northwestern trying to get jobs. And this student said, well, I'm going to tell them I'm a straight A student and I go to Northwestern University. And I said, big deal. Everyone here is a straight A student at Northwestern University. How are you going to get them to know who you are and why should they hire you? He was going after an internship. And so then he came back and said, okay, how about this? I'm going to tell them that I'm head of this fraternity or this. And I go, so what? Everybody's part of a association or head of a fraternity. I want you to come up with something to make me say, wow. And I kept pushing and pushing because you know what he was telling me about? He was telling me about the things he had done in his classes. He was telling me about the things he had done on campus. Everybody was going to be using those same stories. I wanted him to bring his whole self to this event because I knew there's something more. And he finally came back and said, fine, I created an app. He had an attitude with me. And I went, okay, tell me about this app. And he was so angry with me at this point. And he goes, well, I go, when did you put, what kind of an app? I didn't ask what kind. I said, have you released it? He said, I released it 1 month ago. I said, and are you selling it for any money? He said, I'm selling it for $1. And I said, have you had anybody buy your app? He said, 3,000 people bought my app. And I said, wow, he did it. You see, yeah, right? Like I could handle $3,000 more a month, especially in college, right? So I said, that's your story. I want you to go into the career fair and I want you to walk up and introduce yourself. I am a straight A student in the McCormick School of Engineering at Northwestern University. Oh, and I create apps. And I told him to do it just like that. And the reason he didn't think about that, I asked him early on, was because he said, I did this on the side. I was going out with my buddies on a Saturday night. I was running late and I had this idea for an app. Now he's an engineering student. Creating an app's no big deal to him. He threw it out there to see what would happen. He had no fears. He goes to the career fair. I'm standing behind the scenes talking to the recruiters and I hear him introducing himself. And next thing I know, the recruiters are talking to each other. Did you talk to the app kid yet? I talked to the app. Like, see, he was like the purple lady, right? So the app kid stood out from all the other students. He got an incredible internship. Why? Yeah, app was sexy, app was interesting, but it also said something more. It told his story. It said, I'm not only going to tell you I'm smart, I'm not only going to tell you I do well and that I'm innovative. By creating this app, he showed that he was innovative. That's what companies want. Someone that's going to look at things a little different and come up with a new innovative solution. And he did it. Now, before anybody asked me what was the app so they could go out and make money, I never asked because I was afraid, knowing how entrepreneurial I am, I'd be like, I can do that. And I did not want to do that to my students. So that's that.
Awesome. Great
But
story.
Linda, do you see, Linda, it's just a matter of figuring out a way to tell your story without actually telling your story. I mean, doing it in a way to show people so that they perceive who you are, that you built this impression.
Fortunately, some of my largest clients, when I do the videos for them, they post on social media and they give me credit for my work. So they're telling my story for me.
I love it. Third-party endorsements, the biggest thing you can do. That's great. Awesome.
Awesome. So we are getting near the end. We only have 2 minutes left, but really quick, so we did have a question about your book. So I posted it just from what you had submitted to us, but can you share really quick, about the book series that you have?
Yes, so we are in the middle of upgrading it and changing it. So I will send out a note. Again, if you all want to, stay on that list of what's going on, and I'll make sure I let Sharon know when it's ready, and or email me and I'll put you on the list of people. And it's being updated now and it should be out soon. And now it's going to also be online so you can, do it without having to buy the hard copy. And we're also creating a training program behind it. So that'll be coming out this year. So I'm really excited about it. The first book, Marketing Yourself to the Real World, is bare bone basics on how to brand yourself. It really does it. Basically a lot of the things we talked about here today. It's being purchased by a lot of schools across the country. I'm very excited about it. The second book, because I had calls from the schools for this, it's marketing yourself to the real world, but how to get an internship. So if you know someone that's in college trying to get an internship, it sort of has that angle to it.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you, Fran.
Congratulations, Susan.
Yes.
You are the leader we are looking for. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Wow, great. information.
Every single day I say, every day I ask myself, are you really living up to your potential? Like I never think I'm doing it.
Yes, and I think we all have those moments. So hearing what you have to say is just so inspiring and gives us that focus and that direction, because even as you were saying it, I think we're all just sitting here analyzing, okay, where are we at? Where is the path taking us, and what do we need to focus on? So great information, Susan. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. We are at the top of the hour, and we look forward to seeing everybody next week again. And thank you so much. Good to see everybody.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Susan.
it.
Congratulations on all your success. We're so happy for you. Thank you for sharing.
Awesome. All righty. Bye, everybody. See you next week. That kind of wraps it up.